The decision I announced on behalf of government was roadblocks for purposes of trade facilitation in the Northern Corridor. The Mombasa-Malaba Highway as one of the requirements of the East African integration demands, and also subsequently there was a presidential directive that we must replace roadblocks on the Northern Corridor with other ways of surveillance so that we don't inhibit trade within the East African community. I'll be answering that question later on. But generally also, even outside trade-related matters, roadblocks are not, the way we are doing them are not a modern way of securitizing the highways. And therefore, we are having a discussion on how we can, again, clean that space, because putting spikes in the middle of a highway looks even untidy. It's a bit untidy, it looks a bit, yeah? And that's how we've done it all over the years. So we are looking at how even those checkpoints can be a bit more presentable. Number two, we also only retain the checkpoints that are critical for our national security. And members, you may want to know, some of the roadblocks and checkpoints, especially along certain highways, have really helped us save this country from serious threats around terror, drugs, and organized crime. The interceptions that have come because of some of the highway, major highway, the Archers Post checkpoint there, the one in just north of Malindi for the highway, Sabaki, there is Sabaki, then Kanyonyo, this one from Mwingi Garissa. And some of those security checkpoints, there are no bribe issues there. And there is something we have done there which we want to the fight against terror. And they are doing a beautiful sacrificial jobs, and sometimes we never appreciate them. So please, roadblock issue, I agree, we need to clean it up, both for trade purposes, but also for security on our roads. Finally, the member for Kitutu Chache, I think, Kitutu, Nyaribari Chache, Zahir Janda, who never also discloses my friend. What are the steps? What are the steps? If I have not answered, I'll come back to it. But I think the honorable member for Kitutu Chache, Nyaribari Chache, I don't know why I'm in Kitutu, said, what are we taking, what measures are we taking in light of the recent accidents? I've already said we are convening next week the two ministries, all the agencies, and we are going to have a nationwide enforcement measure countrywide, like the one we have now on drugs and alcohol, and it's going to be perpetual, not periodic, for good, as long as the problem exists. Because this is a big problem. It's every time we have an operation for 2 weeks or 1 month or 3 months, we clean up and then we relapse back to normal factory settings after that. So it's going to be perpetual. It's a serious threat. Just the way we are perpetually on the war on terrorism and banditry, we have now included drugs, and it is alcohol. We are going to include even road carnage. And we will be there as long as Kenya exists, or as long as the problem exists, whichever is earlier. And did I leave out anything? Please assist. Did I leave? Can we share the budget? There's no problem. That is the list of my problems. Because we need, when we do these multi-agency consultations on road safety, because Chair, on a serious note, I know Mheshimiwa Badi gave it a light touch. Road safety campaign must be a multi-agency and multi-player program. It cannot be left to us as traffic people, police people, or NTSA. We need political leaders, opinion leaders. So we need to invest, just like peace building, we need to build a culture of respecting roads and the work of elected leaders is going to be very key. So once we organize that program and pitch for its funding, it will factor in the multiple players that are required to make sure that we win the public psyche and change the habits that we have around roads. There was also a question about shortage of vehicles. Honorable Arama, over the last 17 months I've been in this space, I have come to be increasingly persuaded that before we talk about additional support, either of equipment or of financial nature to do programs, using even what we have, we can achieve a lot. So I would rather to categorize the issue of empowering. I know it's there in my statement. We need to facilitate Mary Omari and the team and the traffic people a little bit. I agree. We need also to bring technology in the road safety and ETC and enforcement space. But before we even reach there, if we enforce the current laws with whatever we have at the moment, and that's where we should start on Monday, as we look for cars. Because if we start with cars, by the time we get the budget approved and whatever, more people have died. How much money is required by Mary Omari, my colleague here, and the team to stop some of our colleagues from taking 200 shillings from drivers? How much money is required? No money. Zero. How many cars are required? None. So let's first use what we have, then we do all those things. The command, I think I'll leave that to DIG or traffic commandant to comment. You can either
pass the mic to the working mic. I think that has a problem. Proceed, DIG.
Honorable Chair, honorable members of this committee, CS, Interior and the Coordination of National Government, colleagues, let me take this opportunity to say a big thank you for especially inviting us to join our CS so that you can also be able to state clearly on these matters. The CS has wrote on what's happening in on our highways. But maybe before I go to the command and control, let me mention that we have also done a few things. Remember the other day, we had, everybody had sirens and strobe lights. And everybody had to disturb everybody on these highways. We even saw some driving on the wrong lanes, claiming that they are urgently required to the offices or maybe to do some other businesses. That has been stopped. We have taken a few to courts. Something else that we have been doing gradually is also marking of the black spots. There are those areas that really accidents had been happening. And we have also been on them, and really through other collaborators, we have actually been making progress in ensuring that we slow down matters, accidents. In my office, I've also established a sting team, because it is true, we have some very good police officers, but at the same time, we have others who are very corrupt, a few corrupt officers. They are on our roads there. And these are the people that we need to get them out. like yesterday. So we have sting operations. We have gotten a number of them. We have sent them home, packing, so that we can be able to ensure that traffic department is cleanest. Honorable Chair and members, you are aware that sometimes back, the policy on traffic was changed, whereby it was decided that the regional police commanders, formerly the PPOs, they become in charge of traffic in the areas. The county police commanders become in charge of terms of controlling, ensuring that the traffic department works well. We did find that that was not working. Department. So, once again, officers, we have also created the position of the county traffic enforcement so that he can be able to work together with the base commanders and actually introduced a lot of accountability. Accountability because level is accountable to a different, to its own commander. And that commander is also answerable to some. The complaints on the roads are actually on decline. We have got a lot to do because get the bad officers out of the roads and introduce officers who are ready to serve the Kenyans. So that is something that is already ongoing, and the traffic commandant has been given that mandate to ensure that he can be able to account for all his officers, whatever they are doing on daily basis from morning to evening, and even from evening to the next morning. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Arama, just hold on. Hold on, Honorable Arama.
Time wait. Thank you, Chair. Waziri and the team, I first and foremost congratulate what you do. I know you do a lot, and things have changed in this country. We need to, appreciate where the job is done. Yourself and DIG Kanja, I know what you do. I'm in security. I'm the only person who sits in security. A lot has changed in this country. We have to appreciate. Where we have some small gaps, we will mention. I believe 3 things causes accident in this country. Number 1 is drug influences. Drivers who are drug addicted and they drive. Even if you drive yourself, you are knocked by a drunkard driver. Especially, I know in most of the highways and even in Garissa Highway, you see people who are addicted and they drive. So what the question I was asking is, why have we stopped the alcohol laws that used to help in identifying who is, who has drug influence and those who are okay? Number 2, the other thing I believe that causes accidents is lack of proper training. Drivers who are not experts, drivers who are not competent to drive. I also believe that because of lack of expertise, lack of competence, drivers also causes accidents in this country. Third one, a very important one.
Come back to you. Later.
Yeah, I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I believe although we have officers who always take bribes, I believe the larger percentage of the Kenyan police are doing their job. We have individuals always, and in every society, I'm sure, you have those kind of people amidst the society. But we have individuals, and I believe we will take action against them. But I think the best thing we need to do is to bring back the alcohol laws, follow it up, and put our officers on the roads so that we see those people who are drug addicted and drug influenced, and I'm sure we will reduce the issue of accidents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me go to Honorable Sani. I'll finish with the professional colleague. Will be the last. Honorable Sani, go direct to the question.
Thank you, Chair. I also wish to take at least a second to congratulate the CS for work well done. On to the issues at hand. From where I come from, Bwana CS, the problem in Archer's Post is what happens in my constituency on the Ethiopian border, which is majorly a security come traffic thing. That's where all motorcycles emanate from, carrying human beings, Ethiopians, human trafficking, carrying illicit guns for Rift Valley and other uses, carrying drugs from Ethiopia, Shishamane. All these come through Wajir North. And hardly do you have traffic police officers first in Wajir North. You may have one officer in Wajir North headquarters, but I have 3 sub-counties, a very big constituency. There are no traffic officers. So we are discussing traffic issues in an area where the officers are not there. That's a concern. And you can't imagine, Bwana CS, how many bills we are paying. In as much as they're doing good things to our economy, these are the culprits. This is a security threat to this state. Even on our roads, if you see how they drive, from all ends of your motor vehicle, they can drive. My vehicle right now on the left side, mirror is damaged. A motorcycle hit and went away. And a police officer was just 20 meters away. He couldn't control. I don't blame them. There are many, and they can run helter-skelter, amok. So people always blame traffic police and corruption. Corruption is not something specific to the Kenya traffic. It's a societal issue. It's a behavioral issue. Kenyan society is becoming corrupt at all levels, and we need to fight its prevalence, CS. That's why I'm saying what is in Archer's Post is in my constituency majorly. I have built 6 police stations and I have been pleading for gazettement. 6 police stations out of my constituency fund budget so that we can increase police coverage, block these routes, so that Archer's Post barrier can get relief from the top. So my concern is, how do you really manage motorcycles? It is the big frontier of traffic problem going forward. Licensing them, capacity building them is just too big and enormous. It will overwhelm the ministry. I know you are dealing very well with other security aspects, Prof. Very well. That I don't have to hide. But one thing that will bring us down is the motorcycle sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Sani. Honorable Kerabo, Engineer.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, let me declare that the CS is a very good friend of mine. And I knew I was going to get an opportunity to say that. Bwana CS, I agree with what you said earlier. I can feel you, because what you are discussing is a very serious issue. In fact, at a personal level, this matter of safety made me even come up with a bill. I'm happy to hear the executive is also doing something, because I believe as a nation we need to address this issue of safety afresh. It is a very serious issue, and I think it's one that we need to relook and to see how best we need to structure ourselves in dealing with this problem. Now, to give you an example of how we have failed the society, and said us, all of us, if you look at the section of the road from ABC, something that, in fact, all of me as an engineer, I'm embarrassed that we can construct 40 kilometers or so of a road be completed. So I think as a people, even the way we are doing construction, with the way we are doing our things, we must put safety issues ahead of everything else. Now, I want to just seek some information. Many countries out there, you hear of them recalling. In this country, they could also be related to the vehicles. So in the reports that we receive here, how I wish there would be breakdowns of saying, out of the vehicles that have been killing passengers, like buses, these are the types. Isuzu of the year, these, with this breaking, you know, whatever the age, so that we may also find out whether this is also a dumping ground for, you know, 40 vehicles. Because Africa can be. When you are saying that most of the accidents, in fact, are in this area compared to others in the world. And we know that not everybody is straight out there. So that is another thing that I would like us to know, and whether we are prepared in a way that actually we can inspect even the new ones. And also, when we find a problem, that we can actually use our own system to get to the manufacturer who actually sold those things to us, and sometimes make sure that they pay for the faults of those vehicles if we establish they are responsible. The other thing we have been discussing about is corruption. Many countries in the world, they give their police cameras, or what they call body cams or body cameras, when they are engaging with the public. Is it possible that we try this with the traffic people, personnel, so that we see whether it can help? Because there's a lot of talk of people taking bribes, others not taking, but if there was something like that one, maybe we can see how they engage, just to make sure that we reduce that problem. The other last one, Chair, is these cameras that we have put on the road, have they helped us at all in terms of getting people who are over speeding, or have we been able to take some of these scripts and taken them to court and we use that as evidence, or we have challenges in collecting that data? Thank you, Chair.
Very good, Honorable Kiaraho.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think let me start by declaring my interest by saying, Waziri, we've come a long way, though nowadays you are very scarce, but I understand. Thank you. I think to me, it actually occurs to me that we are dealing with the Waziri we are dealing with, and I think that is very encouraging. But Waziri, if we look at some of the major, and just to touch very briefly, especially on the issue of speeding and the drunk driving, I think we can borrow a leaf from some of these, like in the Western countries. Traffic offenses are taken very seriously. Because, for instance, if you are caught driving when you are drunk, your license is withdrawn. Like in the US, if your license is withdrawn, and in the US you have to have a vehicle to survive, to commute between your home and place of work. So people know if your driving license goes, you're actually disabled. So I think we can borrow a leaf by putting, I think we have to bite the bullet. We have to come up with very strict measures, and I think you measure yourself to that issue. Now, of most importance, they struggle, get a border, and without any even training, you find that character is on the road. And I'm telling you, this is one issue we need to address very strictly, because to me, I was even thinking, Bonaziri, you may even actually start thinking of whether you are going to come up with a proper task force, which will be strictly just be given that, that task to look into this sector. Because if unchecked, I think we are headed Just the other day, some few months ago, we lost a former member of this committee. And how that member of parliament lost his life, it is so unfortunate because he was walking on the pedestrian walkway in South B. Then a boda from nowhere, from behind, carrying some water tanks. Because it was during the jam, he actually moved from the main carriageway, came to the pedestrian walkway, and what happened, the water tanks he was carrying hit him from behind. Because for you, if you're walking within the pedestrian walkway, you know you're heading this direction, you don't expect any vehicle or boda to be using that particular lane. And that's how that gentleman lost his life. And I think you all agree with me, we have those so many of those kind of examples. So what am I saying? I think it's high time, because as a government, we have a responsibility to protect people's lives, especially lives which have been lost through road carnages. And I think it is high time we depoliticize this border sector, because basically what happens, like today morning, if you come, you do some soup, you start hearing, oh, border people are being harassed and all that. But I think if these people are put on notice and those rules are put that we have to adhere, because I really don't see anything wrong with actually enforcing the law. We'll not be going out of our way. No one should say tomorrow that you are being victimized. So long as you follow the law, no one will harass you. But of course, if you are going against the law, then you actually face the music. And I think if people are sensitized and put on notice, you give them enough time so that people know. From June, the government have declared, like using pedestrian walkways, you know, whether vehicles or borders. And today, you all agree with me, if you are driving in Nairobi, actually one is always scared. Because the you find a border coming from nowhere, you hit him, it's an issue. And this is a problem which is with us, and I think it's important we have a broad-based approach to it to see how we can arrest it. I think that is just my view, and I believe your good office is up to the task. But you have a hard time in front of you. But I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Keramo. Honorable DJ, take maximum 3 minutes.
Yes, Honorable CS, coming last after my colleagues is a hard task, because you can see the level of interest in this matter. We are just about 15 of us in this committee, and you can see that we are full house, and every single one of us has said something. You then can see that there's a lot of interest in this matter. And so, coming last, perhaps I should give a vote of thanks. Let me also say one or two things which could be emphasis on what my colleague probably would have some weight. When I was here to do something new, commanders behind you, I mean under you, you know, follow the chain of commands. Be remembered for something, and think out of the box, so that professor is known that he passed, even if he is remembered to be a border, irritate nothing, you know. For example, we are in a new world, creative world, digital world. On the other side, all mentioned about this driver's license, and create a system backed with IT, so that when you have a driving license, you load with this, you start loading it with 100% points. And every time you do something on the road, it is knocked down, like they do elsewhere. Backed by ICT, backed by digitization properly. It will help this, those on-spot fines and on-spot, reactions of the officers. It could even make things easy. You just be in some control area, and you just see that traffic person who is going there and doing something, and instantly you know that that person has done this or done that. It can really reduce the police officers you see on the road. they go back in the back house and do digital work more than just raising hands and getting a lady, you know, her hands are tired and, you know, just raising a hand. That's it. Let us be in a new world, digitized and backed by ICT. That is the first thing, I think. And of course, it is going to tie to the cameras you have. It is going to tie on the signages you have. It is going to tie on the GPSs that you have. And it will enhance your security, your ability to react to security responses, even outside traffic. Because all these things are happening around the roads and so on. So that is what I want to remark, number one. Number two, there is one issue that is troubling me that I want to clear my head on. Just a few days, there was the Kapsabet boys. I thought that was unfortunate. And I would want the commander of traffic to give us a written brief of what the police found out to have been the cause of that accident in Baringo. No, it is Kapsabet boys. The school is Kapsabet boys, but they were, you know, going, that really captures my attention. And I would want a very straight response by the traffic commandant detailing inquiry, a parliamentary inquiry about that accident. And taking from where engineer is saying, some of these buses we buy from CDF and give the children are lorries. We should not carry people. They are lorries. And you don't know, the principal of the school does not know. Once you have given out a check and you go to whichever company which is manufacturing, they just get you a literal lorry and then they change the body. And so you have a lorry on the road carrying children. So there are questions of vehicle defect. How are they supposed to, are they meant for passengers? Do they brake on time? And principals nowadays are doing a whole business with these things. You buy a vehicle, it is hired to worshippers, it is hired to people going to funerals. And so a vehicle is on the way every day. So there's no time of repair, there is no time of maintenance, and then they put children on it. And so I really would wish that we think about this. If you think there is a part that cannot be covered and come up with a report to the plenary, we come with a resolution of the House concerning how children or how schoolboys should be handled. We are an oversight committee. That's the mandate that the law. So sitting here having a good discussion is beautiful because we have having a good discussion is beautiful because we haven't seen you for long. And after this, of course, you have to buy tea. Because that issue of, you just mentioned, we know that in a few weeks or a period of time, we will have amendment accepted. So I think this is a very honest discussion. And probably, Mr. Chair, that we should have. And you can also see our members which we are substantial, never petty in their approach to business. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable TJ. Very good. Waziri, I agree with Honorable TJ. This committee has very competent members, and we are happy to interact with you this afternoon. As you respond to those sessions for what a school bus, we need to come up with the specifications for a school bus. Can't be a lorry. When my lorry has issues on the road, I convert it into a. It's not fair to a janitor. It's not fair to a janitor and penalize traffic. The use of technology will help you minimize that. I think if there is one way you'll be able to to shine. This committee, this is where we are having very many Kenyans lose their lives. And if you can give it at least 70% of your attention, you will save many lives, and your ministry will even. We will help you where you have gaps in the Traffic Act. And you can bring that to our attention. Let us know where you need us to change things, particularly the Traffic Act. I know yesterday we enhanced fines. I think we said there's something we adjusted upwards in terms of fines, traffic fines, and we want to do more so that we make it very painful for any traffic offender, including ourselves, when we offend, and that was given to the COVID pandemic. And it was not a one-off, as this matter of deaths on our roads. We are losing. Lastly, insurance cover we have cost in the past. The insurance cover is processed because it's a business. Why can't we make it a pain point? When you are renewing your insurance, you should be able we should ask you to pay more if you have, for example, been arrested for any traffic offense. It should be able to reflect on your insurance cost. So, Bwana Waziri, thank you, and please you can respond to those questions, those many questions.
Thank you, Chair. I think this has been one of the most productive sessions. Let me try and be as brief as possible without losing any of the matters I have been required to answer, because I am appearing before the Regional Integration Committee of this National Assembly. Actually, I'm late, but I'm sure they will indulge me the way you have also indulged me when I came before when I was expected. Chair, I am in agreement with the wonderful and quality input that the members have given us. And drunken driving is a major cause, especially in urban areas, long distance related accidents. And you'll see many accidents occur between Friday and Monday morning in Nairobi and other places, when many of those drive and so forth, to divert. And from Moyale, they now go to Wajir through Dabel and Buna. And then they find their way to Yamicha. And from Yamicha, they come to Kina. They use Panyarus, they come through Maua. Then all of a sudden, they disappear again just before Embu. Avoid Kanyonyo, which is another agencies involved. National security comes first, and you have realized those who are using the highway to Mwingi Garissa. That roadblock is permanent. And you have to stop, whoever you are, even me, the Minister for Security. I have to stop. But at the same time, they are very courteous people. They are very courteous. They will salute you, tell you, Mheshimiwa, sir, how are you, sir? And that's how law enforcement should be. Are you okay, sir? You know, allow us to do a search. We just want to make sure you're safe and everything is okay. They will still do the work very thoroughly, quite intrusive, but very respectful. And that's what we commend other officers across the country to be like. Law enforcement is not supposed to be just like that. And if you are hunting for criminals, then you must be strict, but also very polite and respectful to everybody, not just to the high-end members or the mighty in the society, to every road user. So that we are working on a program to arrest that problem. We know the panya routes they are using, and we will resolve it the way we have handled the Moyale Highway, the Isiolo Highway, including placing mobile patrols on the panya routes. I think it's in a matter of a few months, we'll clean up that space. And Wajir North is highly affected. We'll support you, Mheshimiwa, and work with you to resolve that problem. So that by the time you go for your re-election, you'll have scored in terms of protecting your people from that issue there. Chair, there is also what Engineer Kirago said. It is true in terms of the way we do our roads, and I think that part of the discussion we are going to have next week will be towards that end, and we encourage the committee also to get seized of some of these matters and even directly demand us to do certain things. You don't have even to wait until we initiate them ourselves about crossing, pedestrian crossings and other things. The motorcycle menace, total in agreement. This time round, we will clean up that space about motorcycle riders. There will be nothing to stop government from cleaning up that space. We'll do it for the country. There will be noise of all forms, political and otherwise. We will ignore the noise, and luckily as law enforcement officials, we are not doing politics with national security. So you'll help us manage the politics, and then we will do what we must. And to be popular in the security space is very difficult. But eventually, when the people of Kenya realize whatever measures we are doing it to protect the country, they will come on board. So we are not worried about whether we'll be popular or get public support. You can help us manage the public support bit, but as we will continue either way, whether there are demonstrations around it, whatever they do, we will continue. And everybody must abide by the law of our country. The law is an equalizer. It's what sustains a nation. Everyone in Kenya must obey the law of Kenya. The mighty and the lowly. The wealthy and the poor. Everyone, men and women, everybody, child and adults, must obey the law of our country. You cannot use wealth or poverty to try and run away from obeying the law. Chair, the cameras technology, total agreement. I think we are late. And I like what my senior TJ Kajwang has said, my professional senior, that we on this side, all of us here, and by the way, please, when you're giving credit, note that actually my contribution to whatever little achievement that could be there is extremely small. The people who run the show are the people you see on my right and on my left, and others whom you'll never even get to know them. As we speak, we have officers right now protecting the country in very challenging spaces in the fight against terror, fight against banditry. Very junior officers, you'll never even know them. Some have watched their colleagues lose their lives in their own sight, to criminals. Some have been maimed. Those are the heroes of this, whatever progress the country is making. I'm only fortunate to be the team leader of this team you see here, both the uniformed and the non-uniformed. At headquarters, I have a fantastic team. The uniformed officers, I have a great team. And I want to say this for the record. I have faith in what our commanders are doing. Right now, there's a good teamwork between the IG, the DIG, and the senior commanders in the NPS, unlike any other time. And I have confidence in what they're doing, and I really hope that going forward we can all work together and achieve what the government and the country wants to achieve. I have been a little more visible because, as one member correctly said it, I think again it's my senior TJ Kajwang, or another member, I forget, I am the link between the uniformed officers and this public. I'm the interface. Because there are certain limitations uniformed officers have, because they are the people who do operational work. I do policy work and lead the team and put together sometimes the multi-agency efforts that are required, generate policy, work with politicians, members of the public, so that we all deliver. So everybody is doing something. It's only that when you are the team leader, I mean, the others will write the story, then you take the glory, which is not very good. So I really applaud all my colleagues, senior and junior, uniformed and uniformed, and going forward we will help this country manage its security concerns much better. Chair, I think the issue of cameras, technology, there is one item here which I've picked, which is very good. I would really want to encourage the idea of a small multi-agency task force involving many people. You know, I know we are tired with task forces, but sometimes difficult national challenges require specific assignment being given to people to help tidy up the space and bring recommendations. So I may want to convince my brother, the CS for transport, so that we can, before we announce measures of whatever, what we can do now we'll be doing, but also have a task force help us clean up some of the policy and legislative priorities that we want to look at. And then towards finally, I think there are a few other issues I'm just rushing through. The use of technology, update the Kapsabet issue. I think again, our last, as directed, requested, we are more than happy to provide an update of where we are on that matter. They will write the statement and then I'll forward it to the committee within the next 2 days. We have nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide. I mean, the investigations is a public process. It's not secret. And we are accountable to the people of Kenya through you as their representatives. I am in total agreement. The school transport system is not in good shape. Many of the vehicles used to transport our children and students are not meant to be for that purpose. And we have commercialized that space, and we are getting a raw deal. Some of those vehicles are overturning because of stability and quality issues, because they were not meant to be what they are presented to be. I agree with the chair that in the private schools and academies, old, previously used matatus are the ones who are carrying our children all over the place. Some of them rickety, poorly inspected, poorly maintained. And I want to undertake, through you, Chair, on behalf of government, we have taken that recommendation and we are going to issue new guidelines on the public, or rather the student and pupil safety measures and the transportation and other safety measures in our education institutions, so that we don't lose our kids the way we are losing them. It's very painful. It's painful to lose anyone, but it's even more painful for us to lose our children who have not even begun their lives. Chair, I think other than that, we'll issue specifications on what constitutes a school bus, not just anything that has been paid for, and make it very painful for people to want to shortcut, whether it's a principal or the manufacturer, whoever, make very punitive measures. I agree with punitive measures, and it will work, trust you me, like the one on drivers. In the past, the traffic law was even tougher than it is today. I know someone who caused an accident somewhere in Western Kenya, drove on a Sunday afternoon, drove and found people who had come from church walking on a bridge, or rather over a bridge. And because he was speeding downhill and the crowd was a bit more, ended up killing 28 people, crushed all of them to death. Others jumped into the river and drowned. Many years ago, his license was revoked for good. He was even a member of parliament, but he never drove for the rest of his life. He died a few years ago. Who causes death to the people of Kenya, either by speeding. First of all, we block your license for life, but also we now, unfortunately for the case I have given, because again of our culture of using public positions to evade justice, he should have been imprisoned for life. Even if he's somebody I knew, he should have been imprisoned for life. But he got away with that. But at least the license part was enforced. So I think we'll be recommending that. We'll be coming back to you with proposals. The issue of cabinet passed last month, the Accident Investigation Bureau something, a unit on accident investigation for all serious accidents, whether air or road transport. And then that bill will be brought through, I think it's being processed through the Ministry of Transport. It's a multi-agency thing. We will have a big role in inputting into it. And you can report that maybe within another month or two, the executive you should demand that we submit legislative proposals for your consideration as a take-home from this engagement. And on behalf of my brother C.S. Murkomen, and in the spirit of collective responsibility, I can commit to the House that within 60 days the executive will have finalized the submission of the legislative proposals. 60 days maximum to allow the finalization of the processes that remain. I thank you for the very quality.
Honorable Wetan is reminding me that I did not say much
on drunken driving. Is a major cause of our accidents.
Thank you, CS. Let me extend my gratitude to you and your officers, and to the members of the National Assembly, the Secretariat, and the media for your time and the valuable insights and contributions today. Thank you, Waziri. We also are happy